Coming up next, we have an interesting panel discussion with three global startups within Goldbell's portfolio of investments. Chris Sheldrick, CEO of What Three Words, Noam Maital, CEO of Waycare, and Itay Bengad, CEO of MDGo. This session will be moderated by Yair Geva, partner and head of the tech division at Herzog, Fox and Neiman. In an age of COVID, a greater spotlight has been cast on mission critical support services like ambulances, fire brigades, and police cars. And we're excited to hear from these three startups as to how their advanced technological solutions will directly get these services to our doorsteps faster, safer, and better.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for having us in the Future of Mobility Seeds of Inspiration virtual summit. And thank you, Goldbell Group and Mr. Arthur Chua for inviting us to this amazing panel. My name is Yair Geva. I'm the head of the tech division at Herzog Fox Neiman. And we have here today Noam Maital, Chris Sheldrick, and Itay Bengad. Why don't you guys introduce your own companies? Noam, would you start, please?
Sure. Noam Maital, CEO of Waycare, and thank you for the invitation here today. And Waycare is in the traffic management space, building the next generation operating system for traffic management, thinking about how we move forward in terms of transportation and traffic optimization using not only the existing infrastructure, which is typically what most systems have done today, to really evolve beyond that and leverage connected vehicles and other data sources, synthesizing all that together for using both machine learning and deep learning for real-time traffic optimization and incident management and predictive analytics as well. So working with the traffic operators and with the field resources, enabling them to reduce their incident response time, identifying crash areas and being able to respond quicker, and things of that sort with our partner agencies.
Thank you, Noam. Chris, let's move to you. Could you tell us in 3 words about what 3 words is?
Three would be tough, but good morning, everybody, and great to be here. So What Three Words is a global address system. I found in my life that wherever I went in the world, the address never pointed to the right place. And so I wanted to make a global system that was very, very accurate. So we divided the world into 3-meter squares. So if you imagine the whole world, you've got 57 trillion 3-meter squares around the world. And then we named each square with a unique combination of 3 words from the dictionary. So something like table, chair, spoon, like totally random words. And that is easier and simpler to communicate than something like a latitude and longitude for when we are inputting things into our devices. So we have an app called What Three Words, where you can find the 3 words for any spot, and then you can use it in all manner of things, like in a Mercedes car, you can speak or type your 3 words, into Mitsubishi, into a whole range of navigation apps, e-commerce and logistics firms. So really it's about making a very simple method of communication for us all to talk anywhere in the world about where we want to go or where we are.
That's great. And Itay, can you tell us a bit about MDGo and how you came to form the company? What led you to this amazing project?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Itay, and my background, I'm a medical doctor, and what made it happen is the fact that I've encountered one of my best friends in the trauma unit after he's gone through an accident, and the lack of capability of understanding in real time what really happened to the occupants after a car accident really struck me hard. And then I come up with this company that based on a lot of technology that is able to understand exactly what has happened to the vehicle and its occupant by the body regions in a very, very accurate way. This technology has been purchased by many car manufacturers, but is also being deployed with the Fortune 100 insurance carriers. And eventually this technology is being used to create not only a frictionless customer experience for auto insurance customers, but also to do the most important thing is practically we connect every vehicle that is insured by our customers to the relevant first responders and EMS dispatchers, where everything happens automatically. It means that in case of a car accident, if injuries were detected above some kind of threshold, then EMSs are being dispatched automatically, and practically customer receive the best treatment they can, And this is how pretty much 44% of casualties could be saved.
That's great. Guys, let's now delve a bit more into the solutions you're providing, your partners, the benefits, and how they actually make critical support systems function better. Chris, let's start with your company. And I guess, I was hearing this podcast about how difficult it is actually to navigate within a city. There's this athlete that has this podcast and is running, it's called Every Single Street, where he describes he's running every day in the streets of San Francisco in that case. Could you tell us a bit more about what are you exactly solving in terms of navigation and in terms of cooperation with the various critical support entities?
Sure. So I think it's a bit of a myth that every city in the world has an address system that functions well. I mean, in London, and as you say, San Francisco and some others, yes, most streets have names and the numbers will point to the right place. But that's actually not the case for most of the world. In a lot of Asia, a lot of Africa, yes, you may have some street names in the capital cities, but the numbering, it doesn't correspond to anything if you type it in. And so what happens a lot in the emergency sector, people think that everything is kind of auto-triangulated. And I think to Itay's point, in a car, it can be. But in everyday life, when people have accidents and emergencies, the location is often the most critical bit, which cannot be often communicated from your phone for various reasons about accuracy. Also then, in terms of communication to, let's say, other first responders, a lot of that is a very, very manual process where people are using landmarks and all kinds of things, and a lot of time gets lost. So what 3 Words does is we're now implemented into a lot of the different, what they're called CAD operators, the software that drives these first responders, so that it can actually just be, whether it's SMS'd or just spoken over a phone or however it's sent, people can just use this same system, knowing that there's 3 meters of accuracy with built-in error detection. So here in the UK, actually over 85% of our 911 services will support what 3 words. If somebody calls up, just an average person will call up and give the 3 words. So we've got to this great place here where we're effectively a national standard for emergencies. We're now working in Germany, Australia, Canada, a bunch of other countries, and looking to come to Asia soon. And in fact, in Singapore, we had our first rescue recently where some teenagers were in McRitchie Forest and the Singapore police used us.
Could you give an example of 3 words, just that we have a context? Is it assigned now to any location in the world or to specific cities?
Every specific one. So everyone who's listening to this, your front door, we've named with 3 words. It could be literally table, chair, spoon, coffee, banana, syrup. And you can just simply find what they are by going to the What 3 Words website or What 3 Words app. So yeah, they're pre-assigned and fixed. Can't change them even if you don't like the ones for your house. But yeah, it's all done.
And I'm very always curious about how entrepreneurs come to ideas, right? This is all this panel is about innovation. How's your background? Previously, Chris, I think you've been in the media, in the music business. How does this help you in formulating the idea of the company?
So the music business was instrumental, really, because everyone in the music business gets lost every day, which people don't necessarily understand. When you're trying to find concert halls around the world, it was so painful. We would need to get to the back entrance or gate L42 at Wembley Stadium, which you can't type into anything. So really, it was after 10 years of pain, getting lost around the world, trying to force GPS coordinates onto the London music business, and I failed really in a big way. No one wanted to use them. So I kind of knew that there must be a market for an ultra simple system that anybody from a child to a grandparent could use instead of addresses.
Thank you. Itay, moving to you on MDGo's solution, could you elaborate a bit how you interact with insurers? What exactly is the problem that you are solving for insurers and for the end customers?
Sure. So first of all, one of the greatest problems that auto insurance carrier has is the rise of the claim cost or the claim severity. And what happened in the past decade or a little bit more is that I think that the average price of claim has risen about more than 50%. And actually, it affects very much its loss ratio and its financials and so on. Another problem that they have is very severe churn. And this is due to the fact that the entire auto insurance industry is shifting into direct, but that's a whole different story. But the biggest challenge that we had to solve is the fact that there's zero alignment between the auto insurance carrier and the policyholder, usually during the policy time. So in case that an event occurs, people are not looking to, get paid back for what they've paid for the past year. Actually, they are looking to get back what they've spent for the past 10 years, because people are usually involved in some type of accident every 10 or 15 years on average. On the other hand, the auto insurance is unaware of the fact that people were involved in an accident. There's nothing that he can support in real time. What they do, they actually wait until a claim will be submitted, which it's another phase in which people are very, very fragile and usually have no idea what to do. It sounds, even if no bodily injuries were detected or involved, even dealing with a car after a car accident is something that the vast majority of people have no idea what to do with. So what happens is that not only the policyholder is extremely frustrated post-accident, but the carrier has no idea what happened, and eventually he's being received with a huge check, and now they start to, tackle each other, and the policyholder is very much afraid that he won't get paid, while the insurance is very surprised of the amount that they have to pay and they were not aware of. So we had to take this point of time, which is extremely crucial for both sides, and to create this alignment. And we've done that by providing a very, very detailed report about the accident, what is exactly happened to the vehicle, and exactly what happened to the occupants, about 27 seconds post the accident, to the carrier, and allow them to intervene using our customer journey that actually allows people to get things done in about 2 or 3 minutes. So by providing the control to the carrier, they're able to reduce the average claim cost in about 20%, which counts for a lot of money for auto insurance. On the other hand, the policyholder is looking for tools that will create a frictionless experience. People don't want to interact with their auto insurance. When something happens, just want someone to take it and make everything go away. And this is exactly what we've done. And you cannot do that without understanding exactly what has happened, because a car accident could be from a minor scratch at a parking lot to extremely severe that requires a helicopter, or I don't know, even worse. So every type of accident really requires very different resources and services. And this is the point that we interrupt with.
That's amazing, and it sounds like you're closing the loop on both ends, and that's and the timing for providing that report is unmatched, I guess. That's a great job. Noam, moving to you and Waycare, what struck me is probably, I would like to hear a bit about the challenges that you faced. I mean, you are relying, I presume, on collecting data from transportation agencies, infrastructure companies, municipalities, etc., and then you're leveraging that data for your services. Could you a bit provide some color how you are connecting to those agencies? What are the challenges in collecting that data from entities that are not necessarily tech companies, right, but are more old school government entities, etc. So would be curious to hear about that.
Yeah, so I think we have to take a step back in time to really think about how the government agencies today are operating in terms of their system, and look behind the scenes really of all of our roads, how they're managed. So today, our roads are managed based on legacy systems, on the infrastructure that's been put in place maybe 20, 30 years ago. And that information is decisive to how they respond to incidents, congestion, et cetera. However, I think as both Chris and Itay are involved in similar type of activities, there's data now that's coming from the vehicles and many other data sources from the outside environment, third-party sources that can be extremely meaningful when combined with the existing infrastructure for the day-to-day operations to really shift and transform the whole way we think about traffic management. So we'll take something simple like incident management and responding to a crash. So today, across the US, at least where we're deployed across over 10 states working with Department of Transportations, that process is still a semi-manual one where a 911 call will come in, or an operator will literally see the incident on one of the thousands of cameras if he's lucky. What Waycare has done is flip that whole equation on its head and said, why don't we automate that process by taking the historical data and training our algorithms at a very granular level to understand traffic behavior and patterns, and then tie that in with real-time data to identify anomalies as they're occurring. So automating that process of the verification, identification of that incident, and then creating an automated response for that, we've been able to reduce the identification time by over 9 minutes for our customers, which is dramatic, of course, because every minute that you're responding quicker, you're saving congestion, you're saving the chances of getting that person to the hospital in better condition, et cetera, et cetera. So really the interesting part about working with governments has been about understanding how we leverage the data from the outside, and rather than being reliant on one source, looking at more like a puzzle of many different pieces that collectively give you an understanding on the AI side, what's going on our roads, whether it's congestion or incidents. And the ability to have that diversity in our data sets means that we don't always have to have all data sets at any given time, but rather you can have 80% of the puzzle and still understand what's happening on your roads.
It's fantastic. And Noam, what is the business model for those agencies to work with you? Is it purely getting to better and more effective results? Is it cost effectiveness?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's a combination of a few things. One, it's important to understand that governments get funded and measured on metrics that are not like businesses. So when they reduce accidents or congestion or CO2 emissions, they get formula funding from the government, the states, that are billions and billions of dollars that are associated to that. Of course, there's also resource cost saving and revenue opportunities around congestion management, but the equation or the currency that they operate on is public opinion and not what the private sector operates on, which is dollars and cents.
Understood. All right, I guess we'll open the panel for questions from the audience. And if there are none, then I do have a few more questions. So if anyone has a question at this point, feel free to post it on the chat. And meanwhile, I'm going to ask, I guess, a forward-looking statement, as we call it in the legal business. How do you guys, and feel free to jump in, what is your expectation regarding the future, the near-term future, in terms of how COVID is going to impact your business? Before we started the panel, I heard some discussion about hiring and what's the plan for the US. How do you see the COVID challenge continue to affect your business, if at all?
I'll jump in here and I'll just say, for us, we're obviously in the government business, and I think the new administration here in the US, which is one of our primary markets, but this is globally as well, they're looking to re-engage the economy, and a lot of that is done through stimulus into the states and government level. So that bids well for us in terms of the focus. And so I think that 2021, as we come towards the second half, we're looking at pretty exciting growth. I think a lot of it is also based on 2020. People were pent up and we're holding on contracts and moving forward. And now a lot of that is coming out in 2021.
Good. That's fantastic. Hopefully that actually matures. And there's a question here from the audience. We have 1 minute, so I'm going to ask Itay quickly. How your technology can save lives?
So the most important part in trauma medicine is getting the right person to the right place at the right time. And you can do that only by understanding that an accident has occurred and exactly what are the different bodily injuries that this passenger suffers from. What we do is we create a map of each body region: head, neck, chest, abdomen, so on and so forth, which allows us to understand what is the exact bodily injury for this specific area. And we push this data automatically to the relevant EMS dispatcher about 27 seconds, as I mentioned before, after an accident. So they can not only be aware of the fact that an accident has occurred, but exactly what is the treatment that should be done and where these people should be evacuated to.
Thank you, Itay. I think with that, we will wrap up the panel. And I thank you all, Chris, Noam, and Itay. This is very educational and inspiring. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Well, thank you once again, startups and Yair. Indeed, there's no time more important than now to focus on technology and mission critical services.